Go ahead.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody for joining us today. We've got a pretty special meeting going on. Before we begin, I want to introduce myself. I think most of you know who I am, but I just want to reiterate it. I'm Skip Frenzel, the owner and operator of both Agape Long-Term Care and Agape Real Estate. I've been a realtor since 1977. I got my SRES in 2006, and I've been teaching the SRES class since 2016. I've got about 22 classes under my belt, and that's with a 2-year hiatus actually on COVID. So I'm finding that this information that we're going to go over today is fairly important, and it's fairly unique to what we're doing right now. We're going to be talking about the objections that senior homeowners have for long-held property. But first, I want to point out that we are in a very unique environment. We have really never seen anything like this before. We're all kinds of new things, such as the NAR lawsuit is really shaping the way we do business. There's low inventory because builders aren't building and sellers aren't selling. We have high interest rates. We have large capital gains taxes for those that have owned property for a long period of time. It might be a long time since the last transaction. And even the insurers are beating up on us by not writing new policies and making restrictions and creating all kinds of problems. So we need to look at some of those issues then too. So like I say, in the 47 years that I've been a realtor, I have never seen anything like this before. So some of these solutions we're going to go over are not right for everybody, but there's going to be something in there that's right for somebody. I just want to give you the opportunity to look at some of the choices that you have, maybe use them as tools whenever they come up, and we want to make sure that you have all the information you need. Now, just like in any sales, there's a difference between selling a product and having people solve a problem. You don't want to be doing pushy sales, a lot of advertising about yourself and so forth. It's better to have presentations on problem solving for your clients, and that will make a difference between the relationship that you build with these people during that period of time. I'm going to start going over this, but I would appreciate if you'd hold the questions till the end of the presentation and we can go over them. This is the link to the handout material, which is in Dropbox. This is also found in the chat. I put it in there too, and that will give you the 10 handout sheets on each of the topics that I'm going to cover. Now, the SRES presentation covers this in chapter 5 on page 75 or slide 75. However, I have added the top 4, which are not in that part, which are hugely important, and we're going to go over them as well. Now, the first one is high interest rates. I got to kind of laugh when I hear about this. Back in 1981, in fact, October of 81, the mortgage rates peaked at 18.3%. 18.3. So that, I think, is really a high interest rate, not 7%. But it's all relative, and it's what you guys kind of are used to. And don't forget, we're in an environment of like 2 and 3% rates, so it can be a problem. Now, the material I'm getting here, I took out of the Wall Street Journal on an ad that was published on April 8th of this year. and they go through the three ways to lower rates. The first is with temporary buy downs. Now, the seller or builder pays an upfront fee to reduce the buyer's mortgage rate for a period of time. There's a 1-0 buy down, which drops the rate 1 percentage point in the first year, and then it resets. The 2-1, which drops it 2 points the first year, 1 point the second year, and then it resets. And then there's the 3-2-1, and yeah, you guessed it, 3 points the first year, 2 points the second, 1 point the third, and then it resets. Now, these are paid as closing costs equal to the borrower's interest rates. The funds are deposited into an escrow account, and the loan servicer draws from the account every month to make up the difference between the full loan payment and the discounted mortgage payment. But there are some caveats to this. You must qualify for the loan based on the current mortgage rate. It's only temporary reduction. You have to have a high credit score. Not every mortgage is eligible for it. Not all lenders offer them, and they can't be used for investment property or cash out financing. The next would be the permanent buy down, which is similar, but now you're reducing the payments for the life of the loan by buying prepaid interest points at closing, and it never changes for the life of the loan unless it's an adjustable. The borrower pays the lender an upfront fee to buy down the interest rate as part of the closing costs. Now, this is less steep than the temporary buy down, usually 1% of the loan, and each point lowers the loan amount by about 1/4%. The lenders have limits on the points they can buy, and it makes sense for long-term fixed rate loans that aren't going to be refinanced and you're not going to sell the property. However, again, it requires another large down payment, and you should find the break-even point, which is the level at which you sell or refinance the home, before this is achieved, and you won't realize the entire financial benefit. It's not good if you think mortgage rates are going to fall in the next 2 years. The next is assumable loans. This is really a great tool to use. It allows the seller to transfer the mortgage to the buyer. Now, there's lots of requirements for this, including credit and income, but and you have to have enough cash to cover the difference between the loan amount and the home price. But this isn't offered on most conventional loans, only on FHA, VA, and agricultural loans. And there's a big upfront cost. And the seller has to be aware because he's now taking on the risk of being a lender during the time that he's offering the financing. And you should provide financial counseling for it and explore different mortgages to see what options are available. Now, there are tips to this, which you should take care of your credit score, be prepared to negotiate, cast a wider net to find a home, and know how much home you can afford, and don't rush it. Next is the low inventory of homes. Am I getting that on there? Yeah. You can start with a market analysis to show that what the CMAs show that the up-to-date information is for listings, sales, and market trends. The timing, you want to maximize the chance by finding a suitable replacement home. Explore options like listing their home in peak seasons, and also maybe consider off-market opportunities or pocket listings. Preparation and flexibility, you got to have it, and then look for being flexible with criteria for the new home. Networking and connections, you might want to get your agents that you work with on a lot of the areas, financial, legal, insurance, and so on, to help. Customize the search. You might want to tailor it for your specific buyer. Then alternative housing options. you might want to look, instead of buying a single family home, maybe condos, townhomes, or even adult communities, and then have a backup plan, a contingency in case it doesn't work, such as short-term rentals or interim housing arrangements, or even exploring renovation opportunities to make the existing property more suitable. And you got to be patient on things like this. And again, finance, you got to look at the competitive market. You might want to get a pre-approval for the mortgage, which would help, and explore financing options. Then also seek professional guidance. Again, the experts can guide you through and help you with the problems they have. Now, this isn't in the information, but there's the 5 L's, which is the cost of a new home, and they are labor, land, lenders, local regulations, and lumber. Labor, obviously, how much it's going to cost to build it. The land is going to be the biggest chunk of the purchasing price, and then lenders, what kind of financing you arrange. Local regulations is kind of broad. It can be anything from zoning to setback rules to easements to CC&Rs and whatever. And then lumber, the raw material that goes into it. So this is really what makes up the cost of a new home. Now, finding new homeowners insurance, this is another huge problem that we're having now that didn't used to happen before. I'm getting this information from the spring of 2024 California Real Estate Magazine. Unfortunately, there's a lot of, let's say, acts of God going through the country. You know, climate change has changed everything around the world, and it certainly has in the U.S. From the southeast with the hurricanes to the Midwest with tornadoes and severe storms, out to our area with wildfires. And everywhere there's extreme heat going on now, which is actually causing loss of life in a lot of places. We're only going to be talking about California for this, but a lot of the carriers are not going to be writing new policies, and 7 of the 12 biggest insurance companies limit their or stop renewing or writing new policies in high-risk areas, or stop writing policies in the entire state. The insurers point to wildfires, risk of home constructor, rising home construction costs, regulations. So basically, it's inflation, climate change fueled natural disasters, and population is moving to high-risk areas. Both State Farm and Farmers are no longer writing new policies. Farmers have scaled back. USAA, no new. Travelers and Nationwide have restrictions on the new ones. Chubb stopped writing for wildfire areas. AmGuard, which is a subsidiary of Berkshire Hathaway, has about 50,000 policies, while Falls Lake Insurance, 900 policies, and they're not writing any new. Hartford's no new. Now, California has about 40 million people, 55% of which are homeowners. In 2022, it was estimated that the California fires cost about $380 million in damage. And there are over 2 million homes considered high risk or extreme risk of wildfire. Now, one of the tools that the insurers can use is to buy reinsurance. Now, this is nothing more than insurance on insurance, and the lenders would, or the insurers would take care of that. And if you can remember all the way back to 1988, we had Proposition 103 that passed and said that the insurers can no longer raise the premiums more than 7% per year without the Department of Insurance approval. They're starting to look at this now and thinking maybe that might be one of the ways to solve the problems, but keep your eye on the news and see what happens. Now, if the client receives a non-renewal notice, contact the agent. Now, United Policyholder, which is an advocacy, it's easier for me to say, group, says to contact the insurance and ask if there are improvements that can be made to qualify the home for renewal. Something like putting a tile roof on instead of a wood roof, things of this nature that can be more fire resistant or retardant. Then contact the local fire department or the Fire Safe Council or elected officials and find out if there's an inspection or a fire risk reduction certificate of brush cleaning assistance program. Now, if the insurance says that nothing can be done and there's no other policies available, contact at least one other independent agent that might be able to help. There are still 100 insurers in California that are writing policies, or you can go with a non-admitted insurer, which is not fully regulated by DOI, and the customers are not protected by the California Insurance Guarantee Association, kind of the FDIC of insurance. Then in last resort, we have the California FAIR plan. This is a state-run insurance company that is a safety net. It only offers very basic coverage. There's no liability or theft or any of the whistles and bells, and it does cost more. If, in fact, you only qualify for the FAIR Act, check back again in about 6 months and see if you might be able to change it. Treatment on capital gains tax. This is huge. I think some of you heard me talk before in some of these techniques. I'm trying to make a more thorough study of it here. Anytime you have an appreciable asset, you have capital gains, which is the difference between the purchase price and the value of it now. And it's usually taxable on investments, including real estate. Now, within real estate, you have the capital gains on personal residence and on investment property. And then, of course, you have some for both. Now, I'm going to start you out with the one that you probably already know. That's fairly easy. The $250,000 to $500,000 exemption, whether it's married or single or married, on the capital gains. You might want to wait until you can qualify for the stepped up basis on being an heir. And if the person dies that has the property and wills it to you, then the basis gets stepped up to the current fair market value. You might want to turn the residence into a home office or a vacation home. Then also you could wait 1 year and turn short-term capital gain into long-term. Short-term capital gain is really nothing more than ordinary income, and there's a huge difference between the two rates. You might want to offset capital losses with capital gains. Here again, you're harvesting the losses, as they call it, maybe taking other investments that have lost value in the years and use them to offset the capital gains. You can sell the house when the yearly income is low so that the sale proceeds will be in a lower tax bracket. Use the home as a charitable donation. Also, there's a few trusts that can remove the house from ownership and avoid capital gains tax. And then we have the installment sale. This is really a good situation where you can actually spread the gain out over a period of years. And if both the buyer and the seller are willing to do this, it can be really a very effective way of reducing the capital gains. Now, we all know about 1031 exchanges on investment property, but also the 721 exchange is for exchanging into REITs instead of real estate. Also, we all have seen about the Delaware Statutory Trust, where there's an undivided fractional interest in the trust. It's kind of like a limited partnership. But then we have the Deferred Sales Trust, which the property is sold to a third party that puts into a trust. Now, be aware, people might talk about DSTs. Well, looky here, Delaware Statutory Trust, Deferred Sales Trust. Make sure you understand which one they're talking about when they do talk about it. Then we have the structured settlement, which is an exchange into an annuity. Opportunity zones are being phased out now. They were just trying to encourage investment into certain areas that they were trying to improve. Then you could actually gift the interest in the partnership to somebody, which may cause gift tax. Well, it probably will cause gift tax, and that might offset all the value of saving on the capital gains. So you need to crunch the numbers. Then we have the family partnership, which is an arrangement where the family members pool their money together and run a business project. Donor advised funds, which are like a charitable investment account for the sole purpose of supporting a charitable organization that you care about. Then a gift annuity, where you give the charity the property and they will use an annuity to give you a stream of income payments. And this also might give you a tax break at time of the deduction. Fear of change is a very realistic thing, especially for those sellers that have not had a real estate transaction for many decades, and it's a very real problem that they have. You gotta start with an open discussion and talk about the problems, the fears, and the concerns they have. Make it an empathetic conversation. Highlight the benefits of the change they might not be aware of, and maybe do just a gradual change where you're changing over a period of time, and it's at their pace. Familiarize them with the new environment where they would be moving. Tour it with them and point out the benefits, the amenities, the social stuff, all the attractions and whatever it might be that makes it a desirable place to move. Maintaining connections. Well, just because you move doesn't mean you have to lose track of everybody that you're associated with in the old place, so they can stay in touch. Technology certainly is going to help there. Again, personalized guidance, personalized support will help with that, and then professional guidance, consulting with the experts again, and creating a positive vision. Give them a vision of what the future is going to look like with the new experiences and enhanced quality of life. And then also, again, respect the autonomy, make sure that the challenge can be very challenging, and you want to try to help, and patience and understanding, where you give them the ability to set their schedule. Now, fear of loss is the next one. If I can get it there. Whoops. Okay. Emphasize the benefits of selling. Here again, this is more of an educational situation where the person probably isn't aware of the selling process, and you want to educate them on that. So talk about the benefits of selling the home, like financial gains, downsizing, moving closer to the family. Market insights, provide current market information so that they know what the market is. Professional consultation, again, explore alternatives, discuss alternatives to the options, like maybe renting or home equity lease. Highlight success stories. If you can find somebody that's been through this process and it's been successful, have them give their opinion on what they went through and how it worked out. Additional emotional concerns. The emotional attachment to the home is very real, especially for long-time homeowners, and you got to respect that. So you might want to take smaller steps to maybe start with like decluttering or staging or something that isn't going to make it so rushed. And then the flexibility and the timing again, so that they have control. The financial planning, point out what can be helpful with them and doing that. Support network again is for the people that can certainly help them, and that can be family as well. If you're making the wrong decision, again, this is a more of an educational thing. So you want to be able to educate them and inform them on the selling process, seek legal advice and professional opinions that can help. You might want to do a home evaluation where you do an appraisal or a home inspection. Explore alternatives to the housing, such as downsizing to a smaller home, moving into a retirement community, or explore even aging in place with home modifications. Emotional support is extremely important. Make sure that you offer that, and hopefully the family can too. Again, the financial planning, of selling the home and a trial period. Maybe you want to do a temporary thing like renting the home or short-term housing options that they feel more comfortable with. And community resources, there should be resources in the community that can help and connect the seniors to the local services and the support groups. The family involvement, make sure you have open communications and respect their timelines. Again, avoid pressure sales. The emotional attachment to a home. Well, when you've been in a home 20, 30, 40 years, it's not a home. It's your castle. It's you. It's an extension of you. It's everything you know. You're familiar with the layout. You know the neighborhood. You know the people. You know where the stores are. You know everything. And that's hard to break away from if you've been doing that for decades. So you want to acknowledge the emotions and say that, this is normal. You're not the only one that this is happening to. You might want to reflect on some of the things around the home, bringing up memories and so forth. Might have family or friends or whatever tell stories. You might want to make photographic or even video documentation, make a scrapbook or whatever. And this kind of fits into the legacy then as well, because all this stuff deals with the legacy that the homeowner is going to have and what he's going to leave to the family. Honoring the transition rituals, you certainly want to do. Visualizing new beginnings, what's the potential for the new beginning and a fresh experience. Support network, again, this is so important. Again, family or friends or whoever they can use to support it. Personalized transition plan, tailor make it for them. Personal guidance, again, assisting with seniors with emotional attachment. And time to adjust, letting go and taking time that they can get used to this. So next we have lack of family support. Oh boy, is that a biggie. Now, in my course, in the SRES course, I have injected a section called the 78-year-old widow, which is a scenario of a widow that is in a crossroads where she either has to sell the place and move to another living situation or stay at home and live on her own. And through that whole process, it becomes a roadmap for deciding on whether to stay or to move that I offer to the realtors. But at the very top, the very first thing, and I really can't emphasize this enough, is to have a family communication where you're talking to everybody. Even if they have nothing to do with the transaction, You want to make sure that everybody knows about what's going on. And the worst thing can happen is, halfway through the transaction, you find out that, oh my gosh, somebody's throwing a monkey wrench into the works and gonna stop the sale. And you really need to make sure that everybody gets heard and expresses their concerns and opinions and objections and whatever, and you can walk through it. Before, if you don't do this, the rest of the sales is just not worth going through. Now, there's a few things that you want to find out. First, decide who the decision makers are. Maybe it's not just the person selling the home. It could be a confidant. It could be a family member. It could be an attorney. It could be whoever it might be. But find out who is making the decisions and definitely include them in the process. Who's going to be viewing the property then too when you're out looking at new properties? Who's going to be parties to the contract? Who's going to be named on the deed? Who's going to be, part of the legal situation? And then same with financial. Who's going to have a financial interest in the process then too? This is all hugely important. You also want to make sure that the open and honest communications to all of the people are being constructed, that it can certainly help the seller. You want to clarify expectations. You might want to give them roles and responsibilities, assign them tasks, and make sure that even the professionals can help here too. For instance, real estate agents, home stagers, relocation specialists, etc. And create a supportive network. Well, that's obviously what you're trying to do. And utilize technology. And a lot of the family members might be scattered all over the country or even all over the world. And of course, the video calls and emails and virtual meetings and everything are going to be helpful with uniting them in that. The financial planning, again, is so important. Respect the boundaries. Make sure that each person that has a task is operating within their own boundaries and they're not overstepping. Hire professional caregivers, home organizers, or other people that can help with alternatives. Moving company people. Again, community resources. Find out what's available in your local area. Emotional support. Make sure that you acknowledge and recognize the support that's giving. Now, the overwhelming task of moving. My gosh, you've got decades and decades of accumulation of stuff, and it's probably almost like a museum. And a lot of people have attachments to a lot of these things in the home, and there's a science to going through and making sure that you can go through the moving situation painlessly. So you might want to break it down, make smaller, more manageable tasks, give checklists and timelines, and make these actionable steps that can be completed. Again, the professionals can help, as I've mentioned, but the family and friend support, you might want to reach out to them. Now, depending on the family dynamics, some may want to help, some may not want to help, but hopefully they will, and have them lend a hand. Again, use a schedule, utilize technology, which can help, and then downsizing assistance where they can prioritize their belongings. Then storage options. Well, typically somebody's going to go through and decide what to do with the stuff. Do you get rid of it? Do you sell it? Do you give it to somebody? Do you give it to charity? Do you get rid of it? What is it? So everything has to be decided upon there. But for storage, you can have both long-term and short-term options, which depending on their situation. Again, plan ahead, make sure that this is something that you're going to be working with on a long-term basis. again, the emotional support, make sure that you can help them with that. You might want to give them a break from time to time. They might feel overwhelmed with all the work that's going in there. So give them a respite to um, give them a break, maybe have somebody else help, or professional group or whatever. And celebrate milestones. Whenever you reach a milestone in the process, acknowledge it and celebrate it. Make sure that they feel comfortable in knowing that they've actually done something, and this is something that they're going to be looking forward to in the past, in making the move. So that's all I got. No, I do want to point out, I've got my SRES class coming up August 13th and 14th. CAR offers it if you're getting it for the first time and you're a CAR member, it's $240. If you're not, if you're out of state, it's $480. But if you are an SRES, current SRES designee, you can get the course as a refresher or a repeat or an update for only $99. So if you're interested, you can go to store.car.org. That's store.car.org and find it and take it from there. So I am now open for questions if anybody might have any. You could unmute and ask.
Skip, I have a question.
Yes.
You mentioned that these slides are on chat. I don't see it. Have you put it there already?
Did I, Julie? I thought I did at the beginning. Where is the chat? Oh, here we go. Well,
I had one question.
yeah, I got it. It's on there. It's the first chat. Says presentation handouts are in Dropbox link, and then there's the link. You have to go to the link and then download them from Dropbox. There's 10 of them, and they're all Word documents covering each one of the items that I covered.
Okay, I had one comment and one question. I found on the homeowners situation, one of the companies that has the growing market share has been AAA. The people have overlooked the fact that AAA and has that kind of adopted California now, and they and so people have been leaving farmers, and now they want you to bundle it with with automobile insurance and usually one other carrier coverage issue, but they are kind of unique insurance company because they're almost of a nonprofit too in some ways too. So, but anyway, AAA has been picking up some market share. My question to you about all these services: how do you prevent, or how do you deal with being an unpaid consultant? Because if this thing is tied, it sounds like a lot of this is tied to a sale of a house, but there's, I hate to have you. Can you imagine if your doctor were paid? Well, you get paid by selling the drugs for your for your care. That would not be a very good relationship to have with your doctor.
Yeah.
So well, each agent has their own way of handling that. I'm not going to get into it. I can just say that you can either give it away on pro bono, and it's part of the service that you do, or you can decide that you might want to charge them for it some way, maybe by the hour or a flat fee or something. But that's beyond the scope of what I'm doing. I'm just presenting the objections there.
Yeah, there are platforms that answer that question. We'll talk about that in another, and that's a whole nother meeting. Yeah.
I mean, because ultimately that's what this whole senior care is all about, is that we're trying to move from a transaction-based economy to an advice-based economy for all the senior issues. And there's a tug of war of the transaction people not wanting to move to the advice-based or whatever, or the transaction people stopping at the end of the wall of the transaction and not dealing with all the other all these, you mean, you get a long list of things that need
Yeah.
to be done.
And
It
it's
does.
time consuming.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's
It's
one to
just all
say,
about educating the client,
well,
educating.
it
them.
is worth $10,000, but if you took it all on the sale of the house and nothing else, then you took $10,000 out of the pocket of all of other services that should have been paid for. I mean, that
Well, yeah.
$10,000.
So we'll talk about that in another meeting.
That's a good point.
Yeah, for
Any
sure.
Questions about the objections, though?
Skip it, Valerie. So first of all, thank you for the information about insurance. So I have been, as carriers have been dropping my clients, I've been going from State Farm to Farmers, and actually I didn't realize Farmers has stopped issuing policies. Is there a way to get a list of insurers that are still writing homeowners policies, or what would be the easiest way?
I would think a Google search would probably do it. I mean, the information I gave you isn't quite current either, so that may be wrong. By the way, tomorrow there's a presentation at 10 o'clock from, what is it, CE, I think it's CAR organization, and they're going to have the commissioner from the Department of Insurance, along with other luminaries, talk about the homeowner situation there. So you might want to, I don't know, maybe I can share the screen on that. I mean,
Could you could you repeat that if you have anything? I wasn't aware of that.
let me try to find it.
Certainly work with independent agents as opposed to the captives. The captives are in trouble.
Mhm.
And that's usually I say outside of AAA, which is kind of a weird group, the Farmers, State Farm guys, those are all captive, the independents. The second thing that I have found, because we have a property casualty division. They have, if you're a business client, then they'll do your personal. But if you're not a business client, they aren't doing their personal. So if you'll rent, if for instance, if Greg Bunker had,
Yeah.
I'll give you the insurance for this building, yes, we'll do your house. And so if they've got something else to get into, they'll do it.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Okay, here's the email that I got as a reminder. CCRE, it's part of California Association of Realtors, and they're going to talk about California's insurance landscape from risk to resistance. And you can see, well, that's the joining the thing, but there's a lot of information on there. I'd have to go through and dig out the link, but I'll bet you if you Google
You can-
CCR,
You can send
You
it to
can
me and I'll
probably
send, I can send it out.
do
I
that
can
too.
get it
Yeah.
to you. Yeah,
Yeah, we
Okay.
all need that because all of my clients, one by one, I have to keep switching them from carrier to carrier. So
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
was.
and it is tomorrow, so short notice, but I think it's going to be important.
And we do now have a line on another broker, Wettenstein.
Yeah, so Warren Wetzel's.
And Wet, do you know him?
Well, he's my partner.
Oh,
So yeah, so Warren, yeah, so we at the Bunker Wealth Venture Pacific Advisors have probably the premier PNC side. So Warren Wetzel's part of our team. And so, like I say, if you do commercial with him, then we'll do residential with you. But so because they aren't just doing
Makes
residential by
sense.
itself.
Yeah.
And then secondly, so Warren Wetzel's part of our team.
yeah.
And the other thing is,
No wonder his name was in my head.
and the other issue that, which don't blame the agent, because the other thing they've done is the people who are writing residential insurance, their commissions have been cut dramatically. So not only have rates gone up, commissions have gone down, because you would thought they would have liked the fact that if you had a 30% increase in premium, that their commission went up 30%. That's not the case. So so it's been.
So the insurance is having issues just like we are.
And because
That's for another day.
and the other, because
A
on the-
perfect storm.
the residential people have also, some of them have gone to robo type of insurance, right? And so online insurance, and that's undermined the residential sales.
Yeah, we have
people.
that problem too. Does anybody else have any questions?
That was very helpful, Skip. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Julie's recording this. It'll be available and you can stop the recording now. Yeah.